Welcome to Math with Professor V. In this video, we're going to learn how to find volumes of solids using cross sections. And we're going to do this by slicing. Now, if this is a topic that you're struggling with, especially if you're in Calculus 1 or studying for AP Calculus, this is the right place. Follow along, and if you want these guided notes, they're available on my Patreon. Now, when we have some sort of cylindrical solid, the way we compute the volume is we find the area of its base times its height. Now, you're probably really familiar with finding volume for, say, a rectangular solid. So let me show you what we do here. When you have a rectangular solid, most of you could probably spit right off the top of your head, oh, the volume is length times width times height, right? So you would have length times width, and then this is height. Now, what is length times width, though? Length times width would give you the area of the base. So if you have some sort of 3D solid and the base isn't necessarily a rectangle, we can generalize this formula. Length times width is area of the base times the height. So if you've got some wiggly looking thing, just compute it in the same way. So now we're going to look at solids that aren't wiggly or random, but ones that we can figure out their volume by slicing them. So say you have a solid that looks something like this, and we slice it perpendicular to the base, okay? And we're going to look at one cross section. So we call it cross section the intersection of that plane with the solid. So you look at it in 2D, and we're only going to look at slices or cross sections whose area we can find using geometry, using known formulas. In this case, we have a semicircle, and we know how to find the area of a semicircle. And so the way we're going to end up figuring out the volume of this entire solid is by basically slicing it up infinitely many times, finding areas of each of those cross sections, and then adding it up over the interval. Well, what does that sound like? That sounds like integration. Exactly. So I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty of, deriving the formula, but basically you're just going to take the integral from A to B. So A and B would be the limits where the base of the solid is defined. And then you're going to integrate the area of some arbitrary slice, dx. Sometimes we'll do this with respect to y. I have an example for you. Okay? So here's the general setup for these kinds of problems. Sketch the base and a typical cross section. Usually you don't need a 3D graph in order to set up and solve these problems. Next, you want to find a formula for the area of some arbitrary slice. Okay, I'll show you how to do that. That's probably the trickiest part. Then figure out the limits of integration. The limits of integration are based off of the base region. So that's why it's important that you sketch that base region. And then the last thing is you just integrate from A to B, A of x dx, to find the volume of your solid. Okay, so let's jump right into an example. First one, find the volume of the solid described. The solid lies between planes perpendicular to the x-axis at x equals 0 and x equals 4, and the cross sections perpendicular to the x-axis on the interval from 0 to 4 are squares, whose diagonals run from the parabola y equals negative square root of x to the parabola y equals square root of x. Now, you probably don't think of square root of x normally as a parabola, but it is, because if you isolate x, it's x equals y squared. So we have both the upper and lower halves of x equals y squared on their interval from 0 to 4. 0 to 4. So y is going to go up to 2 and down to negative 2. And they pretty much gave me a and b. Did you notice that? A, b. X is between 0 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So y equals rad x would go through 1, 1, 4, 2, and then y equals negative rad x would go through 1, negative 1, 4, negative 2. This is the base of the solid. This is the base. Okay, let's shade it in. We've got that. So maybe we should tell the people we already know what A and B are. We're ahead of the game. Cool. So A equals 0. B equals 4. And then here's the peculiar thing. So the slices here are squares whose diagonals run from the parabola negative rad x to rad x. So this right here is not the side of the square, it's the diagonal. And it runs from y equals negative rad x up until y equals positive rad x. So what's the length of the diagonal? Well, the length of the diagonal for some arbitrary slice would be whatever the upper limit is minus the lower limit. So it would be square root of x minus negative square root of x, or 2 square root of x. So let's see, what would a cross section look like? Well, remember, this is the length of the diagonal, 2 rad x. So these squares are kind of sticking up like this, and then half of it's below. And then another one sticking up like this, half of it below. You don't need the 3D graph, but just so you get the idea of what's going on. Well, to find the area of the square, I need to know what the length of one side is, right? Not the diagonal. But remember, this is going to be a 45, 45, 90, right triangle. Do you remember what the relationship or the ratio between the sides is in such a triangle? If each of these is 1, the hypotenuse is rad 2. So to figure out the length of the side, you would just divide by rad 2. Divide the diagonal's length by rad 2. So one side would equal 2 rad x over rad 2, which simplifies to rad 2 times rad x, which is rad 2x. That's one side of the square. Very good. So what would the area of the square be? It would be rad 2x squared, or just 2x. Okay, so you could say a of x is 2x. So then volume would be integral 0 to 4, that's a and b, 2x dx. And then from here it's smooth sailing, right? Just integrate x squared, evaluated from 0 to 4. 4 squared minus 0 squared is 16. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay, good. The only thing I think that was tricky about this one is 2 rad x was the length of the diagonal. So then to find the length of a side, you have to divide by square root of 2. Okay, very good. Next example. The solid lies between planes perpendicular to the x-axis at x equals negative 1 and 1. And then the cross sections perpendicular to the x-axis between the planes are squares. Squares whose bases, okay, so this time they're giving me the base, not the diagonal, run from the semicircle y equals negative rad 1 minus x squared to the semicircle y equals positive rad 1 minus x squared. So this is basically upper half of a circle, radius 1, centered at the origin, and then this is the lower half. So I'm just going to have the entire circle whose radius is 1, centered at the origin, as my base. And then they told me the solid lies between planes perpendicular to the x-axis at x equals negative 1 and x equals 1. So that's a and b right there. A is negative 1 and b is 1. So all of this is the base of my solid. And then we're making squares perpendicular to the x-axis. And this is the base of the square. It runs from the semicircle negative rad 1 minus x squared up until positive rad 1 minus x squared. That's the base right there. Base. Okay, so if we were to look at the entire square, cross section over here, how would you figure out the length of the base? Well, you would just take top function minus bottom function. So the base would be rad 1 minus x squared minus negative rad 1 minus x squared. So then that's going to be positive, which gives us 2 rad 1 minus x squared. Good? Okay, so the area of one arbitrary square would be whatever the base is or one of the sides is squared. So square the 2, and then we have 1 minus x squared without the square root sign. Good. Don't distribute. It'll be easier to integrate if you don't distribute. From here, let's go ahead and set up our integral. So volume's going to be integral negative 1 to 1, 4 times 1 minus x squared dx. Very good. I could take the 4 outside the integral. Then it goes negative 1 to 1, 1 minus x squared dx. You could double this and go 0 to 1. Because 1 minus x squared, that is symmetric with respect to the y-axis. If you didn't notice that, that's fine, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. I love it when my lower limits is 0, but you can only do that, remember, if you have the appropriate symmetry. Okay, so then we have 8 times, and just integrate, x minus 1/3 x cubed from 0 to 1. So that's 8 times 1 minus 1/3 minus 0, which is 2/3. So this gives us 16/3. Very nice job, you guys. Okay, problem 3. The base of a solid is the region between the curve y equals 2 rad sine x and the interval 0 to pi on the x-axis. The cross sections perpendicular to the x-axis are equilateral triangles with bases running from the x-axis to the curve as shown below. So this time they gave us the graph because knowing 2 rad sine x is probably not something all of us just can pop off with, right off the top of our head. And then the bases are equilateral triangles. So they're popping up like this. The base goes from 0 up until 2 rad sine x. Okay, so let's draw off to the side what's going on here. We've got this equilateral triangle. Oh, let's move it over. All 3 sides, right? Same length. And I know the base down here is 2 square root of sine x. Well, formula for area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. So I already know the base. I just need to know what is the height in terms of x. Well, hopefully you remember your ratios or the proportions for a 30, 60, 90 triangle. If not, let me remind you. So say this is an equilateral triangle again, and the base is 2x. So this is x, this is x. It's equilateral, so this side is also 2x. Okay, if you cut it in half and you zoom in, this is 60 degrees and this is 30 degrees. So if you remember your ratios from trigonometry, you're done. If you don't, you're just going to use Pythagorean theorem, and I'll show you what to do right now. So if this is x and this is 2x, this would be rad 3x, because rad 3 is the side opposite 60, and then this is the side opposite 30. If you didn't remember that, have no fear. Like I said, it's a right triangle. So you could do x squared plus h squared, if you don't know what h squared is equal to 2x squared, the hypotenuse squared. That's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So then this is x squared plus h squared equals 4x squared. We're solving for h. So h squared is 3x squared. And then take the square root of both sides. H is rad 3x. Oh, okay. So basically, what you do is you take the base, you cut it in half, and slap a rad 3 on it, and that's the height. So you take the base, you cut it in half, so get rid of the 2, and then you slap a rad 3 on it, and that's the height. So for this particular triangle, equilateral triangle, the height would be rad 3 times rad sine x. Oh, perfect. We're good to go. So now we can figure out the area of some arbitrary slice, arbitrary cross-section. It's 1/2 base, which is 2 rad sine x, times height, rad 3 rad sine x. Okay, so the 2 and the 1/2 cancel, don't they? Rad sine x times rad sine x is just sine x, so we have rad 3 sine x. Perfect. Now we need to know what's a and b. What's right here in the picture? There's a, which is 0, b, which is pi. So let's set up our formula. Volume is going to be integral from 0 to pi, rad 3 sine x dx. And then just integrate. So antiderivative of sine x is negative cosine x. So let's take the negative out. Negative rad 3 cosine x. And we're going to evaluate that from 0 to pi. What I like to do is when there's a negative outside, I just flip the limits of integration and make it positive. So pi to 0. And then this is rad 3 cosine of 0 minus cosine of pi. And this is 1 minus negative 1, which is positive 2. So our final answer is 2 times rad 3. Great job. Okay, last example. I promised you one where we'd integrate with respect to y. Here it is. So the solid lies between planes perpendicular to the y-axis, okay, since it's perpendicular to the y-axis, we're going to integrate with respect to y at y equals 0 and y equals 2. There's my A and B. The cross sections perpendicular to the y-axis are circular discs with diameters running from the y-axis to the parabola x equals rad 5y squared. Okay, so let's graph what's going on. We're only between y equals 0 and 2, so I'm just going to draw the upper half of the parabola. Okay, so here's my x-axis, here's my y-axis, 0 to 2. And then let's think here. If I plug in 2 for y, 2 squared 4 times rad 5. I mean, I don't know what that is exactly, so I'm just going to say it's right here. It's my graph, it's my rules. Okay, so the parabola is obviously going to go through the origin, right? 0, 0. And then 4 rad 5, comma 2. Hold on, I don't like that. That looks ugly. Okay, better. Now this is where you have to read it carefully. This is a little tricky. Look at this. The diameters run from the y-axis, so from here to the parabola. So the base of the solid runs from the y-axis to the parabola. Yeah, that's a little different, huh? Let me draw it really nicely for you. That's the base, or that's the diameter. Right there. That's the diameter. Okay, so let's shade in now. This is the entire base region. Great. A is y equals 0. B is y equals 2. And then if I pop over this diameter over here, right, then we have a bunch of little, we'll make them look nicer, Professor V, get it together. Semicircles, you know. Okay, you get the idea. Okay. So what's the length of the diameter? Instead of doing top minus bottom, we're going to do right minus left. So on the right, this is x equals rad 5y squared. And on the left, this is always x equals 0. So the diameter is rad 5y squared. Well, I need the area of one arbitrary slice. In this case, it's area of y. Well, we know area of a circle is pi times the radius squared, right? So the radius would be half the diameter. It would be rad 5 over 2y squared. So the area of an arbitrary slice would be pi times rad 5 over 2y squared squared. Okay, let's clean that up. So the rad 5 just will become a 5. Keep the pi. It's over 4, and then now we have y to the 4th. Okay, beautiful. So we're ready. Volume's going to be integral 0 to 2, 5 pi over 4, y to the 4th dy. Take the 5 pi over 4 out of the integral. Make life nicer for yourself. 5 pi over 4, integral 0 to 2, y to the 4th dy. Now you can focus. Oh, I'm going to add 1 to the exponent. Divide by the new exponent, that's the same as multiplying by 1/5, and then evaluate from 0 to 2. Beautiful. These 5s cancel like a dream come true. Then we've got pi over 4, leave that out. Just evaluate the variable portion. 2 to the 5th minus 2 to the 0. Minus 0 to the 5th. I got too excited, please forgive me. So that's pi over 4 times 2 to the 5th is 32. So this is 8 pi. Okay, that concludes the lesson on volumes using cross sections. Let me know if you found it helpful. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you'd like a part 2 with more complicated examples, comment down below. Let me know what kinds of problems you're running into when you're doing your homework, and I can tailor a video accordingly. Thank you guys so much for your support. Don't forget, you can also follow me on Instagram and TikTok, Math with Professor V, and I'm in the contest for America's Favorite Teacher. You can vote for me free every 24 hours. The link I'll put in the description, and votes are cumulative. So the more votes I get, the better. So if you guys can vote as often as possible, that would be fantastic. The prize is pretty epic. And the contest runs until May 21st, 2026. So thank you guys. I will be back sooner than later with more content. Love you all so much. Bye.